Hey there everybody, welcome back for another one of those weekend tours around the gardens. Looks like it's definitely going to be the last ones of the 2016 season, so I figured we'd do things a little bit differently. From here on out we're going to be starting with the harvest that goes along with each particular weekend, and then maybe discussing a few of the lessons that go along with this particular year in gardening. Let's get started. I am going to leave the giant pumpkin going because it's not a variety that we're going to eat, and I want it to get as much size as possible. So we'll get back to measuring that in a second. You'll notice behind it though, the spaghetti squash are already gone. They're inside. We'll pull them out for the final look at things. Over there we've got the mini pumpkins. Someone suggested these might be called lemon squash. Gonna harvest those. And here in the bunker we can clearly see there's a lot of yellowing going on in the leaves. And since the garter snakes have gone away, the slugs have come out to play. They already attacked one of my little guys here. And I don't want to give them that opportunity with the rest of these. So, let's get to cutting. We'll take a look at what the pile looks like when we're done. So there's a new look at the bunker garden. Just the giant growing there, and a fairy tale here. Where'd it go? Right there. So I'd like to get that a little bit larger. I'd like seeds from that if I can. It's quite a change though. Then of course there's the pile of vines from all that. My little pumpkin harvest there. Still got to get the mini pumpkins from the spruce garden. I'll have to get those next. And there we have a look at the mini pumpkins and another random squash that I found there on the outside. Their pile of debris. And a look at another very changed bit of garden landscape. Guess I need to mow the lawn in front of that where those used to be. All in all though, I'd say that seemed to work fairly well. Fairly well indeed. Now to get all these collected and put them in one spot where they can get a little bit of time to harden in the sun. So here we have the complete collection of my first year being able to grow squash. I'm actually pretty pleased with all that. Plus there's still the giant pumpkin and the fairy tale out there, so yay! So this week's measurement on this so-called giant squash, 44 1/4. Looks like it's only grown about 2 inches in the last week. Definitely slowing down. Sure looks a lot different without the tomatoes and the squash in there. The Brussels sprouts are definitely getting a little bit more sun, so hopefully we'll be able to get some nice chubby little Brussels sprouts out of that. And beside it we got those peppers. Those poor little peppers got so deprived. Hardly any light at all. But the cucumbers there, they're still out for a couple more days anyway, till I feel like making some more pickles. They did surprisingly well. Pretty impressed, pretty impressed. Looking at the main pepper bed, that eggplant right there definitely needed an earlier start and a little bit more space. But the larger the pepper start, definitely the better they did this year. So you can tell because this is pretty much what survived from the original planting here. And they're all of a decent size. I mean, they're nothing huge here, but they're all of a decent size. I'm still waiting on these garden salsa peppers to go and get a little bit of color. Looks like I might be making another green pepper sauce, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I'd like to get some nice color though for this upcoming season's powdered pane. Got some yellow Hungarian waxes in there. Really nothing going on these Nepalese bells here. Should probably just pull them out. Still haven't topped anything off yet to encourage fruiting on what remains, but that's just me, isn't it? Well, it's probably not just me. I imagine other people out there are just as lazy when it comes to gardening. Speaking of lazy, this grass mulch thing has worked out incredibly well. We've had hardly any weeds to pull all year. Highly recommend that. And then a quick look at the rescued pepper patch here. I'll definitely get to harvest some green peppers off these ones at the end that are marked El Jefe, but I suspect are sweet heat. Just don't know about the rest of these. Got a few green peppers on there, but not a lot of size to them. Wind is kicking up because the clouds are moving in because it's the weekend. Always seems to storm on the weekend. That's fabulous. So, better wrap this up before those unleash on me. Now that things are cooling off a little bit, the kale in the second planting here is doing quite well. Got some cabbage along the end of there that we might get time for some mini heads of cabbage at least. Better than nothing. Those peas shocks planted along the back seem to be sprouting. Don't know if we'll have any time for fruit out of those, but at least they sprouted. Here's one of the Brussels sprouts from the main garden bed with the corn patch. It didn't do near as well as the one that had been growing behind the tomatoes. This one beside it here has some little tiny ones on there, but I think the Brassica moths were just too much for the planting over here because it also had the kale in front of it and the kale beside it. These guys are starting to come back a little bit now that it's getting colder. Less of those moths out, but I don't know. I might try and keep the kale growing all through the winter, see what happens when it gets snowed on. Worst case scenario, it rots and I dig it in next year. Not a big deal, really. Those beets that I shoved back in here after that harvest seem to be doing okay. We've been having a good time taking carrots here, there, and everywhere. I had some of those baby carrots with some blue cheese at work yesterday. That was great. Really enjoyed that. Got to go through and pull out those cucumbers again when I'm feeling like making pickles. Nothing huge growing in there. Corn. Oh, I learned some lessons about the corn this year. Just had some pan-fried corn. That was pretty good. But yeah, I'm going to have to harvest this probably next week. We'll see. Try and get as much out of it as possible. That definitely needs more space in future years. Our little twig assembled potato box. It did alright. Definitely too late in the season to get started with potatoes, but yeah, they seem to grow. Looks interesting anyway. Kind of, what do they call it? Rustic. Still waiting to do the first burn in the fire pit here, but had an interesting idea for a fire starter. So that might be happening soon-ish, maybe. We'll see. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's gotten too cold at night for this poor little early dew honeydew melon. Pretty sure that's toast. No melons from it this year, but it was fun to watch, fun to learn. Maybe next year. The red currant bush out here by the porch isn't looking anywhere near as happy as the one inside. But then again, much colder nights out here, so I imagine leaves will be dropping soon. It'll be nice to get a few more of them planted along here. Already starting to mulch things in, prep the soil for them, so happy, happy, happy. No fruit from the goji berries this year, but they are definitely settling in and starting to spread out. So that's cool. They'll have this space covered in no time. Be nice to see like a wall of goji berries there. Excellent. And then over beside the water tote here, we've got the black lace elderberry. Struggled a bit at the beginning, but seems pretty happy now, so that's good. And then while we're looking at berries, here's my wall of raspberries from what I transplanted out back. Quite a few of them have survived. There's a number that didn't, but no big deal. Find more next year. And these guys like to spread underground from what I could tell pulling up the roots, so I'm sure this will fill in nice and quick, a couple years. No problem. Not really much to see with the aquaponics. I'm just starting my winter prep thinking and trying to figure out what I'm going to do there. I'll definitely show you guys what I do for my Manitoba winter aquaponic prep solution, but I imagine that'll be a video all on its own. And probably another month or so. Got to get a few things together, but I kind of think maybe-ish I have a plan. We'll see. So I guess that leaves us really with the peppers out front. My Kung Pao hybrid here, ever wilty but still hanging on. Nepalese bell that I'm still waiting for some red or some orange or some kind of color on. Some beautiful shape to these little fruit though. Very cool shape there. Come on now, color up for me. Color up for Mr. Bear. The red demons are in their second stage of color, so might get some red on those before the season is done. These anchos beside them are just going insane. I found a huge one in here earlier. See if I can get this for you now. It's about the size of my hand, give or take. And there are quite a few fruit on here, so that's impressive. Little Scotch bonnet kind of underneath that. Starting to get more fruit on it. Still no color really on the original fruit there, but that's fine, that's fine. This might be a candidate for coming in the house, not sure. Little sweet heat here beside it, just busting out the green peppers everywhere. So that'll be good. We'll have some nice green peppers anyway. Really do want some color for the dried powder though. Speaking of color though, these cherry bomb peppers are finally starting to give me one with a little color there. So that's good. Certainly plenty of them on here. Not a bad pepper. We've got the Burpee lemon hop beside it, just putting out flowers everywhere. Desperately need to clean this. Been busy this week, so I didn't get around to topping these like I was going to. And then we've got the sand dollar. Grr, the sand dollar. transplanting a pepper of this size and bringing it in for the winter sounds like quite a challenge, so it should be interesting on that score. But I sure was hoping for some fruit. Oh well. And last but not least, we've got the orange fugo beside it here. I'm not sure how well they're showing up, but much like the garden salsa, lots of chilies in here, but no color yet. So failing all else, I'll definitely have a nice green chili sauce, because that first one tasted pretty good. Even if it didn't work out quite properly, it still worked out, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Color would be nice though. And on that note, everybody, I think I'm going to wrap up this weekend's video. I hope you enjoyed the little look around the yard and gardens, and well, I'll definitely see you on Wednesday, Tuesday for the midweek indoor garden bear stand report. Otherwise, not really sure. Been kind of busy lately. Probably see you next Sunday, weather permitting. Like I said, everybody, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Take care, folks.